How's it going, everyone? In this video, we have some big news on a new women's title, WWE potentially signing a very popular star very soon, and a whole lot more. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get the latest wrestling news. Alright guys, so for our first story of today, we have the ratings for Monday Night Raw, NXT, and AEW Dynamite. So according to a new report from Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, Monday Night Raw drew 1,536,000 viewers and 8.47 in the key demo rating. NXT drew 631,000 viewers and 8.16 in the key demo rating. And AEW Dynamite drew 666,000 viewers and 8.22 in the key demo rating. Next up, we have some big news that a WWE talent could be returning to in-ring competition after nearly a decade. Because during a recent episode of Wrestle Votes Radio, after wrestling his last WWE match back in 2016, Wade Barrett is apparently open to wrestling again, but only if Drew McIntyre is involved. But if he ends up returning, the belief is that he won't be wrestling as a full-time WWE competitor. Next, we have some news on whether WWE has any plans to introduce a Women's Intercontinental Championship. So according to a new report from 𝘽𝙍𝙀𝘼𝙆𝙄 of Fightful Select, even though WWE recently introduced a Women's United States Championship on Friday Night SmackDown, WWE talent spoken to said that there was no discussion of a Women's Intercontinental Championship backstage at Raw this past Monday. So do you guys think WWE should or should not introduce a Women's Intercontinental Championship? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Moving on to our next story, we have some big news that WWE could be signing a very popular star soon. Because according to a new report from Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com, after joining TNA Impact Wrestling back in 2021, Speedball Mike Bailey is officially a free agent after his contract with TNA expired on November 1st. It was also noted that given his current free agent status, he will likely receive major interest from AEW and WWE, who just a few years ago actually reached a verbal agreement to sign him, but ultimately that agreement fell through. So now guys, I want to give you my thoughts and opinions on all of the stories that we discussed today. So starting off with our first story, we did talk about the ratings for Monday Night Raw, NXT, and AEW Dynamite, and from the looks of it guys, it does appear like all three shows did see a pretty nice increase in the ratings department, which is very good news, especially for AEW Dynamite, because as if you have been paying attention to the ratings between NXT and Dynamite, NXT has been beating AEW Dynamite for a couple of weeks now, but it does appear like this week Dynamite did defeat NXT in the ratings department. Next, we also talked about a WWE talent potentially returning to in-ring competition after nearly a decade, and that person is Wade Barrett, who is currently a commentator on Monday Night Raw alongside Joe Tessitore, and according to Wrestle Votes Radio, they are saying that Wade Barrett is actually open to wrestling again, but only if Drew McIntyre is involved in their program, and if he does end up returning to in-ring competition, it won't be as a full-time WWE wrestler. And in my opinion, guys, I think that it would be really cool to see Wade Barrett make his return to the ring, because like I said before, he has not wrestled in WWE for a very long time. And I do think that because Wade Barrett and Drew McIntyre do have that relationship, I do think that if they were to feud, I'm pretty sure that it would be a very good one. So hopefully that does end up happening, and we do see Wade Barrett returning to the ring after nearly a decade, which is pretty crazy. So for the other story that we talked about was on whether WWE has any plans to introduce a women's intercontinental championship, and which is something that many fans assumed would be happening, considering because they introduce a United States championship for the women. I believe it was last week on Friday Night SmackDown. So many fans, basically, they just assumed that if they introduced a mid-card title for the women's on SmackDown, then they would do so as well for Monday Night Raw. However, this past Monday's episode of Raw, they did not introduce it. And according to 𝘽𝙍𝙀𝘼𝙆𝙄 of Fightful Select, there was actually no discussions or no talk about a women's intercontinental championship. So I guess it remains to be seen if WWE has any plans to do so. And in my opinion, guys, I do hope that they end up introducing it, because I do believe that having a mid-card title for the women's division could be very good for wrestlers who have been stuck in the mid-card for quite some time. Now, the other story that we talked about was on Mike Bailey, Speedball Mike Bailey, who is apparently a free agent at this point in time. And according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider and also 𝘽𝙍𝙀 of Fightful Select, they did report that on November 1st, basically just a few days ago, Speedball Mike Bailey, his contract with TNA Impact Wrestling officially expired, and he is right now he is free to sign with any promotion. And they did say that Speedball Mike Bailey has been backstage at some AEW events. However, there is no new information as to whether Speedball Mike Bailey has had any conversations with Tony Khan, AEW, to sign with them. But it was also noted in the article that WWE just a few years ago had a verbal agreement to sign Mike Bailey to the company, but for some reason that did not come to be. So in my opinion, guys, I do believe that Mike Bailey has those two options. I'm sure that WWE and AEW are very interested in signing him. However, it basically depends on what Mike Bailey plans to do, because I do think that if he ends up going to WWE, and I do believe that WWE will do a better job in booking him, in my opinion, because if you look at AEW, for example, you look at Ricochet, who just signed with the company just like a month ago or something like this, and they haven't really done anything with him, considering he is a very big name, an ex-WWE star, and someone who many fans enjoy watching, his wrestling style and things like this. He has not done much since joining AEW, and I do think that if Mike Bailey decides to go to WWE instead of AEW, I'm pretty sure that they will do a better job in booking him. But obviously all of that remains to be seen, and that is just speculation on my part. So with that being said, guys, that is all of the news that we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.